What's up, brother? Welcome to Trust Me, Bro. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, can't complain. Not too bad. Just got through the week, the doubleheader of Monday Night Football. So, how'd you
Yeah,
think of the games tonight?
man. Quite an ending on both of those, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? I found it weird. Like I thought that the Titans were going to be, tying it up towards the end. I didn't realize that they were going to go up a point by kicking that extra point. I was like, anyway, I wasn't doing the math on the score until I realized they got that extra point and took the lead.
Yeah, went for two and
Mm-hmm.
got that. So then they went down by six, man. That was
Yeah,
that was pretty crafty. Did the job,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Interesting game. Yeah, and then the Packers game went right down to it too. But
Yeah,
that field goal at the end, man.
yeah. A couple rookie quarterbacks making comebacks.
Yeah, no kidding. That was crazy,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really like the doubleheader format for
I don't.
Monday Night Football because I don't like having to bounce around back and forth, and I wish they would, I mean, I kind of like the concept, but not at the same time. You know what I mean? Like if they
And
would take a West Coast team, like let's just say like the Chargers or the Rams or the 49ers or something like that, and have them kick off the game, let's just say about, I don't know, 8:30 or, our time, which would be 9:30 Eastern,
yeah,
and then have an East Coast team kick it off at about maybe 6 or 6:30 our time. So that way you can have a true doubleheader where it's a back-to-back games.
yeah,
And so I think that would be a good format. I mean, not for every Monday night, but I mean, I'm saying if you're gonna do a doubleheader, do it that way.
yeah.
So.
Well, and it sucks having it with ESPN because they
Mm-hmm.
just suck with streaming. I
Mm-hmm.
I can't even watch both games
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not a good situation tonight. So,
Yeah.
but worked out good for fantasy. How'd you finish?
I went 2-2, man. Secured first round bye in two leagues. Um,
Nice.
already in one and got knocked out of the playoffs in another one. That team just fell apart.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Just no bueno. But that's all right.
Yeah,
That's all right. That's why we do this, man.
that's right, man. Yeah, it happens. I mean, I know that happened to me at least in one league last year, maybe even two. I forget how things went down at the end of last year, but I went 3-1 and ended up making the playoffs in all four leagues. So
Nice.
ready,
Good.
ready to rock, man. I think
Awesome, man. Congrats, brother.
I
Very good.
always say, yeah, thank you, brother. I always say it takes skill to make the playoffs and it takes luck to win a championship. So,
Yeah.
yep,
Yep. Very true, man. But here we go.
yep. Here
Here
we
we go.
go.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm sipping on a little eggnog here tonight. Let's
Nice.
uh, let's get into the post Week 14 waiver wire picks. So we are entering the playoffs, and so at this point, just for our listener, that we are gonna move it up the criteria from 50 to 65%. So that
Yeah.
way, because there's not as many teams that are in these playoffs, and so there's not going to be as much competition on the waiver wire because most of these leagues we play in, there's sometimes 6 teams in the playoffs, sometimes 8, and that's pretty much not more than 8. So anyway,
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean I think that's fair, especially the way it's been. There's been so many injuries this year, and
yeah,
um, it just gets a little tougher to find anybody that's worth playing out there. So
yeah,
um,
exactly.
makes sense. Well, cool, man. What you got? Let's start us off with the quarterback.
Okay, so first quarterback, this is a retread. I think a name you brought up a week or two ago. Matt Stafford for the
Yeah.
Rams. He's 57% owned, so he's over the 50, but under our 65 threshold. The past 3 games, he's thrown for 802 yards, and this is over 3 games, mind you,
Yep.
and 10 touchdowns. 10 touchdowns over these past 3 games. So yeah,
Dude's been on
that's
fire.
he's on. Yeah, he's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I did not have him on my list because he's been on my list the last 3 weeks, so
Mm-hmm.
I left him off. Um,
Yep.
I got Joe Flacco on here, man. He's only 4% owned. He
Sure.
went through for 311 and a tutty this week. 28 points. Last week he had 19 points. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's looking pretty good. He's definitely they've named him the starter for the rest of the year. He's got Chicago, Houston, and the Jets coming up. So, He's
Yeah,
got some matchups he could do some damage on. I think he would like to go out there and put a show on against the Jets. So,
yeah,
um,
definitely revenge game.
yeah, yeah, I like him, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, I saw that they, I guess, retreated him back to the what do you call it? I guess the scout squad or whatever you go practice squad or something like that. But I did see that the coach actually named him the starter moving forward. So I think that's just a procedural move, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that they'll sign him to a contract. I think they
yeah,
could only do that maybe 3 times or something like that without having to sign him to a contract. So anyway, I think that's just anyway. Yeah, good point. Yeah, he's going to be
yeah,
the starter moving forward, and got a revenge game coming up and looking
yep,
good. So yeah,
yeah.
that's a good pick. The Browns are going somewhere. I mean, they're playoff bound. So
They
I
are,
think that yeah, he's going to have a
especially where
good
the
rest of
AFC
the season.
is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like Bengals are running on their backup quarterback, and he's been looking
Yep.
solid, by the way. But like it's wide open. If they
Mm-hmm.
don't clinch that division, well, they're not going to because they're in there with the Ravens. But
Right.
they're in a prime spot for a wild card.
Yeah, totally agree. And speaking of the Bengals quarterback, that's who I got up next. Jake Browning for the Bengals, only 28% owned. So the past 2 games, he's thrown for 629 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and he's rushed for 2 touchdowns. So the kid's looking pretty good,
Yeah,
man. He's not bad.
he
I like
does,
the
man.
guy.
He looks calm and collected out there. I like him. I mean, if you'd believe this, he was my second quarterback too on my
Yeah,
list.
I believe it.
Um,
I believe it. Yep. Not much out
and
there.
yeah, no kidding. And he's got Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and KC coming up too. So, I
Yeah.
think he's got some matchups that he can put some points up on. I mean, all pretty decent defenses.
Yeah.
Nothing too scary, especially the way he's been playing. So,
Yeah.
I think he's got a shot to continue what he's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, considering how thin, the quarterback position is, I think, I mean, we had, who else did we have gone this week? Geno Smith was out this past weekend. We
Yep,
lost Herbie for the Chargers.
yep.
Wasn't there another quarterback that went down?
Stroud went out with a
Stroud
concussion.
went down, yeah, with the
Yeah.
concussion. Yeah, so they're just
So,
dropping like flies. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep, yep. It's tough, man. I swear
Yeah.
half the league's running on a backup quarterback right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I've never
Yeah.
seen a season like this, and I've been
I haven't
playing
either.
fantasy since 2006.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a long time. All right,
Yep.
so that's it. I'm fresh out of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Who do
I
you
just
got
had
for
two
your
myself.
first running back?
So I've got sticking with the Bengals, Chase Brown, 1.4% owned. He went 8 for 25, but caught 3 passes for 80 yards and a tutty. So
Mm-hmm.
he's more of that change pace guy, catching out of the backfield. I imagine we'll continue to see him getting at least 3 to 5 catches out of the backfield and doing some damage with it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I actually wrote his name down too, Chase Brown, for the Bengals, only 7% owned. Well, the reason why I wrote him down is because he passed the eye test. I mean,
Yep.
that's a guy I was watching. I was like, I wanted to write his name down. I didn't have my notebook handy, but I definitely wrote his name down in my head. Week 14, he had 8 rushes for only 25 yards, but he caught 3 of 3 targets for 80 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks
No, real
fantastic.
good. Yeah,
Looks
I
solid.
agree, man. He's that guy I think you could pick up and you might you'll get some points out of him on a weekly
Mm-hmm.
basis. But if anything happens to mixing it through the playoffs, then
Yeah.
I think he's a real good plug in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if it gets to the point where the Bengals are, I guess no longer in the playoff hunt, then I think that the Bengals may
Yeah,
want to see what they got in Chase Brown
100% agree with that.
because I think Mixon's getting a little long in the tooth. Not that he's a super old guy or nothing, but I just don't know if he's even under contract next year. So it may
I'm
be
not
a
sure either. I was thinking
situation.
the same thing. I was
You know,
thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, let's see what we got in him.
Yeah, exactly. They may want to see what they got in him, so that way they can maybe save a little bit of bucks, when it comes to
Yep.
Mixon, and then just move on without him next season because they're going to have to pay, um, Burrow and Chase. I don't know. Maybe they already have paid those guys. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, you always need to save money, right? So,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, my first running back is Easy E for the Pats.
Hmm.
He's 68%, or just a little bit over the 65% threshold. But wanted to bring him up because in week 14 he smashed, had 22 rushes for only 68 rushing yards, but he caught 7 of 8 targets for 72 yards. And I'm sorry, 7 of 8 targets for 72 yards, and I think he got a touchdown. Yeah,
Yeah,
and a
he had a
touchdown.
tutty.
So
Yep.
yeah, and Stevens is
Yeah,
out, so yeah, he's looking good.
yeah. I have the same stats, man, written down, and 61% owned in ESPN. So he is a
Yeah,
little bit
there you
below our
go.
threshold there.
Right.
Yeah, with him, they're putting him to work. They're trying to get their money's worth out of him, and I mean, he used to do that in Dallas too, is catch the ball out of the backfield. That's something they just stopped doing. They started throwing it to Pollard
Yeah.
when he was kind of that change of pace guy. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I imagine we'll, continue to see this until Stevenson get back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, it's his backfield right now. So I mean, who
Yep.
knows if they're going to rush Stevenson back with the Pats being already knocked out of playoff contention. So
Yeah.
I
Yep.
don't know.
Yeah. Well,
All
cool.
right.
That
Who?
was the second one I had down. So, my third one,
Okay.
I've got that. How do you say it? Tarjay Spears.
Oh yeah, Tajay Spears, I think. Yeah.
Tajay Spears. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
37% owned. I mean, man,
Yeah.
he's getting more and more action, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of the same thing we were just talking about with Chase Brown.
Right.
Um, towards the end of the season, I mean, Titans did pull that game off tonight, but
Yeah.
they're still a little bit further out of the playoff contention. Kind of
Right.
time to start seeing what you got in Spears versus King Henry. I mean, you kind of know what you got there.
Yeah.
So, um, I mean, I think he's got a good shot, man. He went 6 for 23 on the ground, but caught 5 of 7 passes for 81 yards
That's a great night.
tonight. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean, good night. The last couple games, he's been double digits. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got some potential for sure.
Yeah, Johnny on the spot, Craig, grabbing those stats from tonight, even just a
Yes,
few minutes
sir.
ago. That game wrapped up. Way to be. All
That's right.
right, nice.
Yeah,
Real
I
time
grabbed him and there
updates.
was like 2 minutes left. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
I think we're good now.
yeah, yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, solid. Yeah,
yeah,
but definitely hit it. I didn't realize he even had that good of a game. Yeah, I actually
yeah,
picked him up in my neighborhood league. Somebody had dropped him recently. I think somebody got upset that they got knocked out of the playoffs and just threw the game board over and dropped some players, and so
yeah.
I was able to pick him up on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good call, man. Maybe I'll go take a look. Let's
Yeah,
go take a look
exactly.
tomorrow and see who's just throwing it on the ground.
Yeah, never know. It happens.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I got Jerick McKinnon for the Chiefs. Only 41% owned on the Yahoo side. Pacheco's out. At least he was out the last game. And so while he had the Week 14, I mean, of course they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire there as the nominal starter. But we've
Yeah.
seen this this show before, as far
Yep.
as McKinnon, heating up at this time of the year. He only had 4 rushes for 19 yards and a touchdown, which is nice. But he
Yep.
went 3 of 3 grabs for 18 yards. Not exactly a great game to write home about, but I mean, he did have a touchdown, and he did see a lot of usage in the passing game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Like they've got to do something. They're 8-5 right now, I think. The Chiefs
Mhm.
are. Maybe
Yeah,
that's before the game. I don't know. I don't know if they're still 8-5 or.
I
Anyways,
don't know either.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, they got to do something. They don't have many guys that can catch the ball. They don't have people that can line up on sides. They don't have they're just
Hmm.
a mess right now, And
Yeah.
so this was about this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier last year, but when Jerick McKinnon came on,
Yeah.
and he
That's
started
right.
looking strong, and he was putting up 15, 20 points a game,
Hmm.
catching 7, 8 balls a game. They need to get back to that, They need to throw to Kelsey, Jerick McKinnon, Rice, a little,
Yep.
and that's it.
That's right.
Scanling, you're out. Tony, you're out.
Yeah.
Just go out there and distract some people.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should play, even when Pacheco comes back, that they should have just have McKinnon just lined up out there on the line
Yeah.
somewhere and just get
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
We've seen what he
That's
can
it.
do when the ball's in his hands. He's
Yeah.
electric. Yep. So,
Yep.
all right. How about you? What's your next running back you got?
No, that's it. I just had 3.
Okay. I got one more, and I did have Chase Brown written down, so we already talked about him. But I did write down Ty Chandler with the Bengals. Actually, I do have two more. Uh, yeah, Ty Chandler with the Vikings, 22% owned. Madison has an ankle, and he might be out. And so that's the only reason why I wrote him down. Didn't really write down any stats or anything like
Yeah,
that, but no, not
yeah,
that that's a great role to have or nothing, but something to keep an eye on if you're
yeah.
desperate. And then one more desperation guy, Zamir White for the Raiders, only 2% owned. Josh Jacobs has a knee, and he may anyway. This guy Zamir White may start on Thursday, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really desperate, need a fill-in running back, in a
Yeah,
pinch.
I mean that was such a good game, the Vikings game this weekend
Yeah.
against the Raiders. I'm gonna rush out and grab both those guys.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Packed with athletes, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. My gosh, I just forgot to play
Yeah.
football.
hmm
I'm glad I didn't see much of that.
Yeah, Red
Well,
Zone
cool.
wasn't focusing on that game much, thank God.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Give it a shot if you're desperate. I think.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. Yep.
yeah. Desperation guys. Just figured I'd write
Yep.
them down just because their starters are out. That's the only reason why I brought
Yeah.
their names up. But
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
I'm not targeting these guys. But if somebody's in a
Yeah.
situation where they're, you know,
Yep.
scrapping at the bottom of the barrel, these are your guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to wide
50%.
receivers. Who you got first?
You know, Odell Beckham, he's 50% owned. 4 for 97 in Tutty. He's been double digits the last 4 or 5 games. Seems to
Yep.
really be getting a connection going with um, Lamar.
Yeah, with
Almost
LJ.
forgot Lamar's name. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean he's really getting that connection going, and he's making plays, dude. He's looking good. Kind of coming back into form a little bit. So I would expect to see it continue.
Yeah, I totally agree, brother. I actually had his name written down as my number two to pick up. 42% owned on the Yahoo
Yeah.
side, ODB. He had 10 targets. That's what was nice. He had 10 targets. He only caught four
Hmm.
of them. I'm only 40% catch rate, but 10
Yeah.
targets is nice. And then 97 yards on a tutty. So I mean, nothing to
Yep.
sneeze about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely getting the looks, man.
Yep.
I didn't, watching the red zone, you don't see everything, but
Yeah.
um, you would think if they were close, he's catching it.
Right.
I don't think he had 6 drops. It just wasn't a catchable ball. So he's definitely getting the
Yeah.
looks, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. The first running back, I'm sorry, the first wide receiver I came up with was Jaden Reed for the Packers. He's actually 62% owned on the Yahoo side, so right
Okay.
underneath our new threshold of 65%.
Yeah.
So Christian Watson's still out,
Hmm.
and after watching the way that Love performed tonight, I'm kind of thinking that I think what Love is missing is Christian Watson. Like with this turnaround that he's been having lately, beating the Chiefs, things like that. I think
Yeah.
that it's coincided with Christian Watson playing really well. Because I remember Christian Watson was a drop candidate. I brought it up on this show a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. He was having a terrible season, but he started turning it on and scoring touchdowns and catching the ball a lot. And I think that kind of coincided with Love's upward trajectory. But I think that tonight it showed that Christian Watson wasn't out there on that field.
Yeah.
But Jaden Reed did soak up some targets. He saw 10 targets, caught 8 of them for only 27 yards. But he did rush 4 times for 38 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I was going against him, man. So I was rooting for that production to stay down.
yeah,
I mean, yeah. What did you say? 8 catches for 20 yards. I'll take that when I'm playing.
yeah. But
When
there
I'm
was the
playing
rushes
against
and
him.
the touchdown. Yeah, so he had.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, he had. Let's see. Yeah, eight. So he saw 10 targets, caught 8 of them
Yeah.
for only 27 yards. But he rushed 4 times for 38 yards and another touchdown. He's kind of like the Debo Light of Green Bay. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
So,
I agree, man. No, I like that
yeah.
pick. That's a good call. That's a
But he
really
scored
good
20
call.
points, 20.05 fantasy points in a PPR. So,
Yeah.
not bad.
So next one on my list, I've got Zay Jones, 27% with Christian Kirk out on IR.
Yeah.
It's him and the Calvin Ridley show, really. So he went. He
Right.
caught. This is where I was kind of thrown off So Odell had 10 targets. Zay Jones had 14 targets, caught 5 of
Mm-hmm.
them for 29 yards. So not very good production, not a great game. But again, with Christian Kirk being out, seeing 14 targets, we've seen Zay Jones go off for a few games. So
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's definitely somebody to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I was just getting my pen out because I actually had him written down too. I just wanted to check it off. But yeah, Zay Jones, absolutely. He's been fairly consistent. He's been a good wide receiver over the years. I mean, this isn't his first rodeo. We've seen him produce pretty well over the past 2 or 3 years, and so
Yeah.
yeah, he's a solid, especially with Kirk going down.
Yep.
That opens up the door for him. I think that that consistent fantasy production wasn't going to happen unless Kirk went down, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yep. All right. Yeah, that's it. That was my final wide receiver as well. So I don't have anyone else.
Yeah. I've got I've got two more.
Okay.
Demarcus Robinson's shown up on the Rams.
Yeah.
0.1% owned. He's had tutty in the last 2 games. This last week, he caught 3 out of 10 targets, 46
Mm-hmm.
yards and a tutty. So he's been producing, man. He's had 15 targets in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And I think
That's good.
Atwell's been out or not really showing up. So
Yeah.
handle it with caution. What's the other day? Is Wandell Robinson on
The Giants.
the Giants? He
Yeah.
looked good tonight too, man.
He
He made
did.
some
Yeah.
great grabs, made some great runs after the catch. So
Right.
he's somebody I would take a look at too. I didn't catch his stats. I wasn't Johnny on the spot with his stats tonight, but
Me neither.
still had it. I don't think he even had a double-digit game, but man, he looked pretty good out there. So
Yeah. Yeah. He did. I mean, in Hyde, I think it's another guy. I think he scored a touchdown tonight. I mean,
Yeah.
these Giants receivers, they'll pop, from week to
Yeah.
week, but. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see myself counting on any of them. I think Tyrod Taylor's coming back. I don't know if they're gonna, I mean, I don't know why they would start him. I mean, they might as well just go ahead and keep this.
stick with this dude. Yeah.
Yeah, this
He
guy.
won-
Yeah, I mean,
Come
he's
back
been
and win
winning some
tonight.
football games. I think
Yeah.
what he win like at least, 3 of the last 3 or maybe 3 of the last 4 or something like that. He's been winning
I
some
think
football
so, man.
games. Yeah, yeah, must
You
well
just
stick
see him
with
beat
him.
the Eagles here soon.
Mm-hmm. Hope so.
They
Twice.
got 2 matchups coming
Yeah.
up.
That'd be
Nice
great.
to see him win one of them.
Yep. Yeah. Why not both?
Yeah, no
that'd be
kidding.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. All right, we're out of wide receivers.
Yes, sir. Out of wide receivers, I only
All
got
right.
one tight end I wrote down. I'm assuming you probably have the same one, but here, let's hear what you got.
Yeah, I got 2 of them. I got Isaiah
Okay.
Likely.
Same.
Likely who you have 2. Yep.
Yeah. Likely.
45% owned. I mean, this dude went off. Like
Yeah.
we talked about it a couple shows ago where he's not really good fill in. Every now and then he'll have a good game, and this was it.
Yeah, this was it.
5 for 7, 83 yards in the tutty. I mean, man, he took that one to the house. It was a nice
Yeah.
play, man.
Yeah, he did.
So we'll see. We'll see if his production continues, but at least he had a great game this week.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. 5 grabs for on 7 targets for 83 yards and a touchdown. So
Yep.
yeah, nothing to sneeze about. I mean,
Matches up.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I mean, Andrews is on IR still. He ain't coming back this season, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yep. I mean, he's the dude there. The other one I had was Hunter Henry, 16% owned. He went 3 for 3, 40 yards and 2 tutties. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, that's the game you wanted him in. But
Yeah, right.
with Zappy in there, like I feel like maybe they've got a little bit more of a connection than with Jones. So
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe that's what we were missing all along was even noticing that. Maybe those are the games that this guy would go off. I mean,
yeah,
could be.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
they
have
should be
any other
sticking with
tight
Zappy.
ends.
Cool.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Mac Jones's days in Foxborough are numbered. So
Yeah,
I think
I think so too.
Yeah, they're gonna cut him.
Yep.
So
Right on.
All right.
I think that's what we got.
yep, that's who we got. So let's talk a little bit about a new segment that we're going to talk about today, Craig, called false starts. And so
Yep.
one of the things that every fantasy player is plagued with is you know, playing the wrong guy. I mean, you look at the matchups, you look at, past production, you look at, players that you maybe just you have a gut feeling on, and you try to do your best, to set your lineup for the players that you think are going to perform, whether that's based on matchup or what, but um, oftentimes we swing and miss, and I think that's the
Yep.
hardest part of fantasy football, really, is determining, which players to put in any given week. And I think there's just so many points left on the bench, which I think is just it's tough. It really is,
Yeah.
and I really don't know how to do that, or how to to really come overcome that. I mean, I think you see a lot of websites and a lot of fantasy analysts that put out their rankings, all the time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Start
like
them, sit them.
yeah,
Yep.
start 'em, sit 'em, and
Yep.
then but I think that a lot of times you can kind of look at these people, these analysts or people that feel confident enough to publish rankings, which I think is tough. It really is,
Hmm.
and then I mean I'll never put out a ranking sheet. I don't see myself doing that anytime soon because, I mean it's really tough to do that. And then but I would like to see, like, if we were to take a look at the fantasy analysts that are out there in the industry and see which one puts out rankings that are right most often. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And that would
Yeah.
that would be the ranking sheet that I'd probably give the most credence to.
Right.
But
Agree.
it's tough to do that. And so anyway, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some of these players that and I went back and I looked at the folks that I probably should have started, or the folks that went off on my bench.
Yeah.
And I went back. I probably spent a little bit too much time on this homework assignment. I went all the way back from week 14 to week 1. And I'm not going to sit here and rattle off every single situation. I mean, because that could take
Yeah.
to the next hour. I'm not going to bore you. But I'm just going to talk about the highlights. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of, how do you want to do this, Craig? You want me to start off with, because I put some stars next to the ones that I thought were pretty egregious. And so
Yeah. No,
maybe
I
we can
think you
just,
just rip through them, and
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sure
And
we'll
then
have
you
some
can
commonalities. Yeah.
okay. Yeah. You can read through a couple of years. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I'll just kind of read through the ones that I put a star next to. Um, week 14, I played, Travis Kelsey instead of Evan Ingram, which, obviously anybody in their right mind would have done the same thing I did, right? So
Yep.
Kelsey got 14, Ingram got 32. I mean, the only reason why I even brought that up is because that's a huge point differential right there.
Right.
That's a 18-point difference right there. Um, Also in that same league, I left Cooper Kupp sitting on my bench.
Mm.
He scored 29 on that bench, and
Dang.
I played Rice, for 18 points, and I also played Pollard for 16, and I also played Waddle. Let me see what Waddle got in that league. Um, I don't know. It definitely wasn't 29. I'll tell you that much. So
Yeah.
yeah, so Waddle got 13. So yeah, so anyway, uh, Waddle would be the odd man out there. So I probably should have played Waddle. I mean, Cup instead of Waddle. So Waddle got 13 plus, and then 29 was sitting there on my bench. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, two swings and misses. Ended up winning that week anyway. But
Well, it's hard because Cup has been putting up
yeah,
6 points for
hmm
game after game after game. How do you determine what that game is that he's going to put
hmm
up 20 or 30? I
right,
mean, he's capable of it. We know that. He used to do that every single game, and when he only got
yeah,
six, you're like, what the hell happened? Like,
right,
must have got hurt, but it's not
yeah,
the same this year. So, I mean, that was a tough one. Like there's a week ago, I played Thielen,
hmm
and Jacoby Myers goes off for 20 points on my bench, and Thielen gets me 1.1. So
yeah.
it's those tough ones.
It is,
Like
man.
those.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because you're basically you're leaving money on the table. That's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I mean with Cup, I think okay. So I mean I've noticed that Cup's name came up in this list, over and over and over again.
yeah,
Over in the 1, 2, 3, 4. 4+ pages of notes that I took. So Cup's name was a recurring theme, and I had him in 2 leagues, and so yeah, his his lull that he went through. Getting 6 points a game 3 weeks in a row, and then something similar to that for the next 2 weeks. I think he went through about a 5 6 weeks lull right there. But these past two games have been fantastic. So
Yeah.
it kind of looks like Cup's back. I don't know what was going on. Maybe there was some injury that wasn't being reported. I don't know what, but it looks like he's back. So I'm going to
Yeah.
trust him for the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
my
I would too.
moral of my story here.
I would too.
So
Let it ride.
yep.
You've seen
All
it
right.
work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In consistent seasons, I mean, if he doesn't get you 20, you're wondering what's up with Cup.
Yep.
So yeah,
Exactly.
you can pretty much just pencil in 20 and expect it. So, all right. Next up, I'm going to talk about. Let's see. Let's see. Back in. Let's see. The same week, actually. Um, I should have put Henry in my RB2 slot instead of the flex spot because Henry, I think he got me 18 tonight.
Hmm.
I ended up playing Swift, and then exact same situation. Left Cup sitting on my bench. He scored 28. So I would rather have had Cup's 28 than Swift's 3.9. Let's just put it that way.
I would
So
too. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
completely agree with you, brother.
Yep. Exactly. And then last week in week 13, um, let's see. I had Tank Dell give me a bagel, and then Cup got me 15.9. So I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
And
was
those are the
playing.
tough ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you
Yeah.
get injured first part of the
Hmm.
game, because otherwise
Yeah.
Tank Dell's been going off for 20, 30 points a game.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Like
know,
I've
so
been. Yeah, I was making my bread and butter, by playing Tank Dell instead of Cup.
yeah.
Towards the end there, like towards the end of Cup's lull, and Tank's ascension. I was making that right call. But
Yeah,
but
man. I mean, you talk about
yeah.
either skill to get to the playoffs and luck to win the
Hmm.
championship. That's the kind of same thing, like
Hmm.
you're it's not a manager mistake for starting Tank Dell over Cooper Cup,
No. No.
the way
Yeah.
they've
No.
been
No.
playing.
Yeah. Exactly. When Tank's been giving you 34 points or
Yeah,
25 plus whatever for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, yeah, of course.
yeah,
And you know Cup had been giving you six, 6 or
yeah,
7, something like that. So yeah, you're right. That's not a major mistake. We just got burned by Tank Dell breaking his leg on the first drive of the game. A play he never should have been
sure.
in on.
Nope.
So yep. So okay. Other than that, I've got a couple more things I'll just bring up. This one really burned me last week in week 13. Um, on one of my leagues, I had let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's what I did. So I played Waddle and I got 10 points, and I left Nico Collins. I call him Nuke because when he
Mm,
goes off, it's like a
yeah,
nuclear
yeah,
bomb goes off. He got 48 points on my bench, and I
yeah.
and I played Waddle instead.
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah, it burns you, right?
that burns, man. That's a tough one
Yeah,
because you know, Nico's one of those. I mean, he might have had one other game where he's anywhere close to that.
yeah,
Um, kind of this. I did the same thing, man, with DJ Moore in week 4 or 5 or something like that when he went off for
right.
50 points.
Yeah,
He was in one of my lineups and he was on my bench in another league
yeah.
because he hadn't
Oh,
been doing a whole lot. Fields has been terrible,
mm-hmm.
um, so he ended up riding the pine and same exact situation, man. He goes off
Yeah,
for 50 points and sitting there looking at those bench points like son of a bitch.
yeah, exactly.
It sucks.
Exactly. And that was last week. And so, I ended up benching him this week. I mean, only because I saw that matchup. He was playing against, I think, was it the Browns that they were playing, I think? And, they were playing in the rain, I think it was. No, it was the Jets. They were playing New York in the rain. And I know,
Yeah,
I actually, after him going off for 48 points, I had the self-restraint to bench him this past weekend. Knowing that it was a rain game, and he ended up getting hurt. Like he only scored 2 points, so that actually,
yeah.
worked out.
There
But
you go.
yeah.
Nice, nice,
So,
man. Well, um, I'll talk about a situation I think a lot of fantasy managers find themselves in.
uh-huh.
So, I found Kittle on the waiver wire, which is
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often, but there he
Right.
was sitting there. Snagged him up. had
Uh huh.
Kincaid running, and Kincaid's been pretty solid. He's been doing anywhere from 10 to 15, 16 points a game.
Yeah.
He's been that consistent 10, 15 points a game guy.
Right.
Kittle's kind of been up and down. He'll get you 3 points and he'll get you 23, and he'll get you 3 points and 20. He's kind of bouncing around. Well, I think a lot of fantasy managers find themselves in, what game do I play him?
Yeah.
Do I play him in this game and he'll go off, or
Uh
do
huh.
I swap him out? So, man, most of the time I'll try and trade one of them. Just wrap them up in
Yeah.
something and trade away for somebody, another piece that I really need, so I don't have that situation going on where I'm always playing
Right.
the wrong guy.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've got
So,
that same situation going on right now with Kelsey and Evan Ingram. And I actually tried to trade Evan Ingram a couple times, earlier this season to a couple different people because I wanted to avoid that
yeah.
exact same situation, like the one I
Yep.
just mentioned, where Evan Ingram got me 32 and Kelsey only got me 14. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But nobody wanted to bite, I mean, at least somebody wanted to give up any assets that I considered, something I was interested in. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, like, anyway. So they wouldn't even entertain me with something. So yeah, but yeah, I
Kicking
tried to avoid
themselves
that
now.
situation. Yeah, but I'll
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I actually have a Kittle story for you here. Um, let's see. It was back in week 5. So, and I was a little upset with Kittle. Like, he started off a little slow, right? And
Yep.
so, I think he got me, measly points. Let's just say at week 4, right? And so, at that point, I was like, look, I can't count on Kittle. So I'm just going to pick up Ertz, and then just plug him in. And then just, at least I can try to get somewhere close to 10 or above, right? And so,
Yeah.
anyway, I benched Kittle and I popped in Ertz back in week 5. And so Ertz only got me 8.25 points. And that's the game that Kittle decided to blow up for 26.95 sitting on my bench.
Mm.
And so at that point, week 5, I was like, look, man, I'm just going to take the good with the bad. I'm going to ride this roller coaster for its highs and lows with Kittle. And that's just kind of what you have to think about, as a fantasy owner of Kittle. You're just going to have to take the
Right.
good with the bad weeks. You just have to
Yeah.
roll with it. So
Yep.
I
Yep.
eventually
That upside
resigned
can be
myself
so
to
good.
that. Yeah, exactly. I
Yep.
resigned myself to that. And so, yeah, I'm fine. Kittle will I mean, I think recently he had like a 3-point game. I mean, it is what it is, but
Yeah.
it'll get you those 29-point games here and there. So it's all good.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I like it, man. I like
Yep.
that segment because that's it's something everybody struggles with and
Oh, yeah.
everybody's dealt with.
Yeah, exactly. And so just to kind of wrap up, so, through my analysis, what I learned from it, right? And so among the 4 leagues that I play in, I actually did the math, and it looks like I left, 556 points on the bench overall, among throughout the entire league, throughout the whole season, 14
Okay.
weeks, among four leagues. And so that
Hmm.
averages out to about 10 points per team per week that I'm leaving on the bench. So, that's what it averages out. That's what I'm costing myself right now. 10
Yeah.
points a week, and that's,
Yeah.
you can they can swing a lot of games. I mean, how many games have you lost this season by, less than 10, right?
Yeah. No
So,
kidding.
so it's about starting the right guy, and it's a fatal flaw, I think, for not just me, but for a lot of fantasy players out there.
Yeah.
So, I don't
Sometimes
know.
it can be more glaring, and sometimes you need a freaking crystal ball to
Yeah, right.
predict when somebody's going to go off, and somebody you just kind of stashing on your bench, and then they go off, and you're like, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zay
Right.
Jones or Zay Flowers for me this last week.
Oh
He
my
was,
God, yeah.
yeah, like he
Yeah.
might have won me a game or two if I'd have,
I know, right?
plugged him
Yeah,
in. So
I know, dude. I have him in my neighborhood league, and I was looking through that analysis. I mean, that name was in here over and over again. Zay Flowers.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
never know which week to play that guy. I don't know.
I know, man. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
I'm
might
with
as
you.
well not even own the guy, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just going to trade him away. Let someone else deal with this. I mean, I saw Kirk's name come up there so many times. I mean, he'd always score me 15 on my bench when I'm playing somebody
yeah,
else that got me like 7. It's
yeah,
just like, look, if I'm not going to play him, I might as well just trade him. I mean,
yeah.
what am I going to do?
Yep,
You know. So
cool. Right on, man. Good stuff.
cool, brother. All
All
right,
right,
my
it's
man.
playoff time, brother.
Yes, sir. Playoff time. Get your game face on, and good luck everybody who made the playoffs. Um,
Yep.
you know, pay close attention to start the right guys and don't make this decisions that I've been making all season. So,
That's right.
all
That's right.
right,
Get zeroed in now. All right,
exactly.
man.
Get
Good luck
zeroed
on the
in.
waiver wire. Good luck in the first week of playoffs.
All right, brother.
All
You
right,
too,
brother.
my man. Good luck.
Cool.
Peace.
See ya.